Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and in this video we're going to go over Exodus Garden 2A. The intro is going to be loadouts, exotics, possible weapons that you guys can use. I typically won't use those just so you guys don't have to depend on anything that I've got. But if you want to jump out of the gameplay, just use the timestamps down below. We are going Fallen Champions, Barrier and Overload. Barrier Servitors, Overload Captains. Overload Captains bug me, but that's all you can do. The burn is Void, so we are definitely going to want to take advantage of that. And the modifier is attrition. You've got to be cautious. There's really not a great way to manage it besides being cautious, or if you've got an exotic to help you with health. And I'll give you guys a couple examples. Anti-barrier, I'm using scout. Things in here are going to be much longer range than they probably even need to be, but farther range, scout rifle is going to be a bit more beneficial than an auto rifle, just my 2 cents. I'm using an arc scout rifle. It's one that I've used on other lost sectors. If you have a void scout rifle, please use it, because you're going to be able to do a lot more damage from range, more damage to the boss, more damage to the barrier champions, and it's void, it's matching the burn, you get bonus out of it. Not everybody has this one. The other option for a void scout rifle, as there are not a lot, is going to be Vouchsafe. You can get it from the Dreaming City. It has been reissued, so it is a possible one that you can go get, just depends on if you have one. I have not gone back to get one yet, because I do have my Royal Entry. At this point, it's doing okay. It's not amazing, but it works. Hand cannon and overload is really kind of the only way I like to go. Some machine guns are unreliable, even something if you would consider like Risk Runner, which is like built for fallen enemies. Unfortunately, submachine guns and overload captains, you have to fire so many bullets to get it to trigger. You're just at more risk of dying, especially on something with attrition. If it wasn't attrition, you could probably toy around with it and see how it goes, but attrition, your health is so hard to come by in the first place, you need every bullet to count. So, overload hand cannons are key. Whatever your heavy weapon is, make sure you load up reserves, scavengers, and ammo finders. That's a must. I'm going rocket launcher. Now, this is a tracking rocket launcher. I can miss the boss with a tracking rocket launcher. So, things that you're probably not going to want to use. Swords. That's just kind of obvious. The boss floats in the air. You'll know it when you see it. Grenade launchers. It's going to be really hard to arc the grenade up there and not miss half of them. And if they teleport, it's just going to be a waste. So rocket launchers, tracking optimally. But actually, of all things, if you're going legendary, one of the more reliable shots that you're going to have, not exotics, I'll get to those in a second, is going to be a linear fusion rifle. If you have threaded needle, which I would have to dig and see if I even have one of these, it is a hit scan weapon. And you can get that critical shot, and servitors just have that big eye. It sounds weird, but it's actually not going to be a horrible option the way the boss is set up. You're going to have a decent amount of ammo with reserves, especially if you throw the mods on there. You're going to be able to hit scan. Crits will still count reasonably. You know, and you'll have enough ammo. You can even use it if you want to for the 2 legendary servitors. Rocket launchers, bad omens, definitely counts. You come over to this side, if you have tomorrow's answer, it's going to count. Royal Entry as well. Grenade launchers are going to be tough. Machine guns just don't hit that hard right now. I mean, you can slowly work your damage into things with this. It's definitely a viable option if you've got corrective measure, if you've got shattered cipher, and if you just need something that you've got to use, machine gun would be an option again with that hit scan. But linear fusion for the single shot, you know, when you need to pop out, get a shot on the boss and pop back in, this is going to put out a decent amount of damage, I'll be completely honest. Now, for exotics, weapons first. Mostly heavies. Truth. It's a very insanely high tracking rocket launcher. It's got 3 in the chamber. It's going to be very effective. You've got Deathbringer. If you can get this thing above the boss and let those things trickle down, especially with the catalyst now, this is probably going to put in some major work. And especially on the second to last room, I'll tell you guys where, this thing would probably be very effective at clearing a lot of that stuff out. So Deathbringer's not a bad option. You probably get to figure out where you're going to use it, but overall, not too terrible. As for other heavies, Leviathan's Breath. I mean, it's a heavy bow, so if you pull it back all the way, it's still probably going to hit fairly hard. Your option, and if you want to try and use something with a draw time of 1328, but it might be something you could try, at least experiment with. For your exotics, I mean, for Titans, you could use One-Eyed Mask, so if you do get, you know, a kill on something that you shot, you're going to get a little shield back. You've got the chest that if you cast your barricade, you get some healing. You know, Worm Husk Crown for hunters, Wells for warlocks. Other classes have decent options for healing. Titans, we definitely have to depend on exotics. Last thing, Protective Light. Probably not going to get to use that option, but if I do actually get charged with light, those moments where it can save me is nice. And other than that, whatever your chest piece is, whatever your energy is, throw resistance on here. This is going to help me against Arc. Void would be optimal because the boss will kind of delete you. So it's really your option. If you don't, you know, have a great option, you could always go with Concussive Damper. Snipers, if you're not sure. Melee's not really as big of a deal. Concussive Damper for the area effect splash damage on the boss. Not a bad alternative as well. That pretty much covers it. I am going to go Sundering Blast just because I'm not going Grenade Launcher. I'm not using Breach and Clear. So if I do Stun a Champion, I'm going to get an Explosion. This is actually very beneficial on the Barrier Champions because they're usually surrounded. Now, if you're going in Arc subclass, you could use Surge Detonators. If you got anything with Dragonfly, Chain Reaction, Firefly, you could have fun with these. As I'm going a Void subclass to make sure I can kill those Servitors and an Arc here. But if you have Void here, again, you could then go Arc Grenades for stunning the Overload Captains. Long intro, I know, but I do want to cover a lot of the options in here. So let's jump in, cover what we got. All right, so when you start, you're going to have a couple Shanks. We're going to have our Servitor. He's usually going to shift around, so my advice, try and find the other Shank, because there are two. Now, once you got you and Servitor isolated, hit him with a grenade. Or your Void Scout Rifle, if you got one. And then once you break that, especially because I'm depending on the grenade, I have to be a little more aggressive to make sure he doesn't get his shield back. There we go. Once you kill that, I would pull back. You're going to get a lot of dregs that spawn. Reload your weapons, check everything. Now we can start working on the Gregs. The Gregs. Different guy. The Dregs. If this one actually makes it to YouTube, that will make me laugh. Shout out to those of you guys watch it, comment for the Gregs. One of these guys out here has to be named Greg, right? Just how it works. Statistically, one of these guys is probably called Greg. Greg the Dreg. And again, if I did get any actual, like, you know, anything to spawn, run up here, collect everything. And basically everything you gotta fight next is behind this wall, and a big shield wall still over here. So you got a few Shanks. If they venture out far enough that you can get them to be unshielded, like this guy, try and get the kill off. The Barrier Servitor is going to make life interesting. But again, if any of them are ever going to play nice and not be shielded by the Barrier Servitor, you can use that in your benefit. If you're in a bad situation, go hide behind a box. Like this, safer than most places. Now, the Barrier Servitor, he's going to be hanging over there. Not much I can really do, and I really got to get my health back. Or die. Cute. This is obviously not going to be flawless, if you can't tell. So, still shielded. My actual advice of where to fight these guys, because I got out of position, is up here. Now, there's only one problem with being up here. And that is, the Barrier Servitor can go hide back where you can see those red lines went to. And if he's back there, when he puts his shield up, it's really hard to break the shield. So use your Scout Rifle, put some damage in, get him to pop his shield. The nice thing is, you'll notice that explosion will kill most of the Shanks. Use that first stun to kill the Shanks. Be ready, pop the shield. Now I can go with something heavier and finish it up. So it's not as painless if you're in the right position. I was just goofing around earlier. Got out of position. Next is our least favorite guy of all. It's going to be our Overload Captain. Make sure your rocket is reloaded. If you do want to put some damage in, you better make sure you're reloaded before you do. Stunning these guys is rough. Now, as I said, there are optimal ways to do this. Now, you notice how I switched and fired my rocket launcher. If you switch to any other weapon, notice the health. I cannot stand Overload Captains because of this. His health is basically already back up. Like, I've stunned him. Now, here's the thing. If you ever have to reload a heavy, you better switch back to that Overload weapon and put that damage back into him. Because if I waited to fire the weapon, he would have got his health back, and that's where it's... Way to sacrifice the body there, buddy. Jeez. I'll leave these deaths in here, honestly, just for entertainment value, because if we finish it with the deaths, you may not have a flawless run here, but hopefully you have one that still counts. And if you ever damage an Overload enemy with something besides an Overload weapon, you need to put more damage. Where'd he go? Oh, come on. This is where I can't stand. sometimes this stuff that happens. So we're going to basically start from scratch here. He's full on health again. Now, again, that's the thing. If you hit him, the rocket needs to be loaded, and then you need to put more damage in with that overload weapon to continually keep that health down. Because if you don't do enough damage with an overload weapon, it basically will cause that health regen to kick off. And it goes pretty fast. I do have some heavy waiting up here for me. So I've got some heavy here. I'm not going to even try and pick it up, but I can remember it's back there if I need it. As we creep up, we've got our next overload captain. He's a little easier to manage up here if you can get a good angle. Same thing, if you can hit him, keep the shots going in. You can reload your primary, but be fast to put that first shot, almost a hip fire shot, back in. Now this is the rare time I'm actually going to come up here and go for a finisher, just to conserve ammo, but you're going to want to pull all the way back to reset things. And we should be fair. Okay, so from here, you're going to have a lot of guys tucked out in this middle section here. You're going to have some enemies that spawn up top, so be careful about those. The champions will be lower ground level at this point, so you shouldn't have anything vertically above you, but that doesn't mean enemies won't be above you up there. So once you run up, you're going to get some exploder shanks to spawn. May as well get those kicked off. And that's not the only wave. There are quite a few. You got a grenade, chuck it up here, kill some of these guys. Okay, that grenade kind of almost worked and then completely failed hard. Now, if you got a heavy sitting around that you know you can use, throw some heavy out there, use it. Use your super to clear the room. You totally could. Notice I'm just not using my super because I don't want you guys depending on a super in any point to kill a certain champion or anything like that. I try not to have that be a dependent factor of your survival. Overload Captain's finally about to show his face here. Make sure we're good. Reload everything. What up, Greg? Sorry, dude. Not your day. Alright. Grab some ammo, so I'm good on primary. Overload Captain should be around here somewhere. I'll grab that. He'll float back and forth. At some point, he's probably tucked over there to the left. There's also a barrier servitor in the back. But if you don't go too far ahead, which I probably did... I'm trying to see if I spawned everything else. Now, I may have definitely spawned the rest of a bunch of guys that are coming. But if I can keep his health down and go for the kill, I'm going to try. If he doesn't teleport on me. Nope, got his health back. See? That's why overload captains really kind of suck. Now, the other option, depending on if all the enemies have spawned. Like, if I run up here and you're going to see a lot of enemies probably pop out like that. This is not advisable being up here, but it is actually kind of working at the moment. So sometimes being a little aggressive will work. Be ready for the stun. Same principle. Sometimes the stun gets the explosion. Sometimes it does not. I love how it's unreliable. Be ready for... At this point, I don't even care if I die. I just got to get the kill. There we go. And get off of this roof. Now you're going to have some wretches, some exploder shanks. Lots of guys coming down this alleyway for you. It's nice that they funnel into a little tunnel for you. Makes life easier. Grab my little healing orb. The dregs that hurt are those resilient dregs. They're both going to be above and below. But again, remember, you can pull back all the way back here. And now you're going to start to see more of these enemies up above. Throwing grenades, things like that. So, they will tend to rotate from up here. Those are the ones that hurt. Come on. But they also just teleport up there. That's why I don't live up there. So watch what they do. It's the guys with the solar shotguns that hurt. There's always 2 or 3 of them. Apparently they're all about the jumps today. Checking their verticals. What you got, dude? Okay, I see his gun up there. Now you're waiting for me. Come on. Come on. Peek. Peek out. Or... Gotta love that. Just appear. Now it's nice to see the heavy ammo drop. I could probably be more aggressive and just shoot him. With a big rocket in the face. Yeah, there were apparently 2 of them up there. And that's one of those things. Be aware of what ammo drops so you know if I can go grab some more and be a bit more aggressive. Can be. Exploder shanks apparently are still floating. Gotta love when those happen. Oh, we're not done. That's the thing. Always be ready to basically turn around and run. If you ever hear the beep and you're not in a great position, be ready to back out and retreat. Now, this is how you can work a captain if he plays nice and doesn't shoot me like 6,000 times. That's the problem with attrition on a guy like this. It's really hard to kill him. You don't have a whole lot of opportunities before you're basically dead. Healing rifts for other classes, dodge, you know, warm husk crown, gonna make some of this stuff easier, but for me, as a Titan, don't have a whole lot of options without an exotic. Last guy is literally just a normal servitor. It's one of those, that's the last void servitor. Now, I've got some ammo, and now the boss. The boss you want to try and kill basically on his own. So basically peek, hit him with a rocket. Don't worry about the servitors, or the champions, because they typically won't go away. And if I can kill the boss, now sometimes he'll hide, so you might have to kill a bunch of these dregs. Low-level ads in the middle for a minute, because they tend to hide back here for a little while. Unlike other Lost Sectors, sometimes if you kill the boss, the other champions will actually disappear, and it may be a time thing in this one as well, I'm not sure. But I haven't had them disappear because I've whittled them down with scout rifles before if I needed to. But the more of those guys you kill, eventually the servitors are going to float off to a side. I know I've got some heavy back here, so I'm going to come back, pick it up, make sure just I'm loaded. There's always somebody in this stupid little cubby right here. Always a drag. If a drag ever creeps up and you don't see him, he's probably waiting over there. Alright, so now, put some in the boss. He's basically dead. Now, boss is down. Only problem is you gotta kill the servitors before you can actually open the chest. So, the way barrier servitors tend to work, especially these two, told you there's more guys coming, is you want to make them teleport before you fire your rocket, because if they teleport, the rocket loses its tracking. Might creep up, see if you got any more ads, check your radar. There's probably a couple. So be reloaded, be on your weapon, try and get them to teleport. You can usually kind of make it happen, depending on how aggressive you are. Now, if they teleport into some weird, funky spots, you got to be careful. And this is where it gets weird fighting these two. The boss, if the boss is up, this is impossible. That's why you got to do this later. You want to catch them somewhere in the air. And you want them to do their little shield, just like that. Then once you stun it, then hit it with your rocket, and then go for the finish. Now the point is being very aggressive to this one specifically, because it's going to start popping its shield again and again. But remember, every so often, you'll stun it and get it to break. Once one is down, the last one's usually much more manageable. But again, okay. See, I need help. Watch your timer. I'm at 12 something right now, so I could use my 7 reses. Even if I die, I'll be okay. But if you're down to that last 15 minutes and my health looks like this, or you're past 15 and I have no more reses, come back here, let your health fully refill. It's much, much better. But pretty much any other class is going to have a better option at this, so you guys get the handle it how you want to. But we got to find him. Usually floating. There it is. There you go. See the teleport? Tag it once, get a teleport. Find out where it teleported. Yep, I've seen it teleport down there too. It's really fun. If it does, it usually will come back to the center and then work its way vertical. So try and hit those crits to get it to spawn. About halfway through its health bar, it'll get that shield pop. There we go. It usually will do the shield pop after a teleport as well. That was a very weird broken animation, it looked like. Now we got to be a little more aggressive on the charge. Be ready to break the shield. And finish it up. So under 15 minutes. Not the most, you know, fun Lost Sector. Overload captains and overload anything still bugs me. When you collect your loot, just be aware. Oh, I did get a helmet, so woohoo. Got some fun guys in the back. Quite a few shanks back here. And that is a wrap on Exodus Garden. I've done this one multiple times. It is just about patience, but you should generally have better odds of doing a master versus a legend to get your exotics. So, back to the surface, let's wrap it up. So that does wrap this thing up. Obviously, you guys can see, hopefully you get some heavy ammo to drop. Without that, it gets to be a bit more difficult. The Overload Captains, by far, much, much worse than the Barrier Champions. But the Barriers, if they do get a teleport and hide, it does kind of suck to have to start over on their health. That first one, especially if it hides in that cubby. That's why, for me, Sundering Blast actually helps kill those Shanks. So don't go too big on that first Barrier Champion until those Shanks are down. So if you have to chase it around that corner, you're not being shot while you do. Other than that, give it some tries. Be patient with attrition on. The burn is void, whatever you feel comfortable with the heavy there. Whether it is, you know, linear fusion rifle, a machine gun, whatever you want to use, totally up to you. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like below. If you have a loadout you like using for any class, please drop that in the comments. If you guys are new to the channel and like what you're seeing, please hit that subscribe button and the alert bell. Helps my videos make it to you guys. And if you want to find me on Twitter, it's @Ebontis, and twitch.tv/Ebontis is where I stream. I'll stream Destiny and also a mix of other things as well. Thank you guys. Have a good one and good luck.